In this video, I will be showing you the Picot Bind Off. The Picot Bind Off creates bumps or picots along the bind off edge, and you can make it almost exactly match a cast on edge. It's great for sock cuffs or the bottoms of a baby sweater or anywhere you want this decorative little frilly edge. And you can vary the size of the picots and make them longer or smaller, and you can vary the spacing of them and have them close together or farther apart. You can use any type of left to right cast on method in this bind off. Usually a knitted or a cable cast on is used. I have seen an e-cast on used. I don't prefer that method as it's a little looser. I prefer to use a knitted or a cable cast on method. So for this bind off, you bind off a set of stitches and then cast on a set of stitches and bind off and cast on and bind off. The number that you cast on will be the size of your picots. I'm going to start by knitting one stitch, knitting a second stitch, and binding one off. Then I slip that stitch back to my left hand needle purlwise. Now I'm going to cast on. I'm going to use the knitted cast on method, and I will cast on 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I'm going to bind off 6. So that will bind off the 4 that will become my picot and 2 more. To do that, I knit the first one, and then I knit the second one, and now I bind off 1, knit, bind off 2, knit 3, 4, 5, 6. Then I slip that stitch purlwise back. I now have a 4-stitch picot with 2 stitches in between. Now I just continue that. I will cast on 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I will bind off 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then slip it back and continue. And you will do that all the way across until all your stitches are bound off. If you have an odd number of stitches, this combination binds off an even number of stitches. If you have an odd number, simply bind the last stitch off as you would normally. If you want to center these picots, you would want to plan ahead so that you have 1 or more stitches bound off on this edge and 1 or more stitches bound off on this edge on either side of those picots. Like, let's see, this. So there are a set of regular bind off stitches on each side so that they're kind of more centered in the swatch. You can vary the spacing by binding off more stitches. So if I wanted these spaced farther apart, instead of casting on 4 and binding off 6, I could cast on 4 and bind off 8. That would space them farther apart. If I wanted smaller picots, you cast on fewer number of stitches. Whatever number you cast on is the size of your picots. These are 2-stitch picots in a finer fingering weight yarn. So they're small. These are 3-stitch picots, and these are, I think, 6-stitch picots in the fingering weight yarn. So that is the Picot Bind Off. Thanks for watching.